Hello. To start, we are Gerard Tauste, Javier Fernandez, and Sergio Viñas, and we will show you how to assemble a low-end PC, a mid-range PC, and a high-end gaming computer, but in this case, we will assemble the high-end one. Afterwards, to assemble the computer, I have been using a screwdriver to put the necessary screws or remove them, flanges to tie the cables. Next, I used alcohol to clean the processor, cotton to dry it, magnetizer for the screwdriver and to ensure that the screws do not fall and get stuck in the screwdriver, and finally thermal paste so that the processor and the heatsink make contact. The components that we will need are the following. First, the Knox Hammer ZX box is where we have added all the components. Next, a power supply of 800 watts modular to give power and give potency and to make the PC works. A motherboard B150 Gaming M3 where we have added the majority of components connected to it. A processor Intel i5 6600 3.2 GHz that processes everything and which is the most important components of a PC. A 16 GB RAM, a CPU Cooler Master Liquid Pro 2040 fan to dissipate all the heat. Furthermore, a Gigabyte GTX 917 WindForce graphic card 4 GB. A TP-Link network card to connect via Wi-Fi, optional. Seagate Barracuda 3 TB hard drives where we store all documents and all games, and another 128 GB SSD where we will store the operating system to go faster, and finally a CD player is optional.
First, normally the memory slots are colored differently, and the modules are placed in intervalled slots that allow to optimally combine these paired modules binomials. Meanwhile, there is only one correct way of placing them that avoid errors, and they also have a fastening system that ensures the module when I'm placing and tightening the module on the base plate. Later, with the motherboard, we always include a small metal plate that we have to fit into the box before putting the motherboard in it. It serves to identify the connectors on the back of the computer, to which then will connect all kinds of peripherals. Once this is done, we can introduce the plate with the processor and the memory already mounted in the box. For this, it is sufficient to carefully insert the small metal plate into the box and make it coincide with both the insert of the outlets and the holes that exist in the box, and that align perfectly with the holes in the plate itself. By doing so, we can screw the base plate to the box and fix it so that it does not move when then move the equipment or place in any position. Most of the current sources are modular and include several cables that you can use or not according to your needs. One of the cables is always connected, one of the feeds on the board, and from there it will be enough to connect the box in the lower part. In other times the normal thing was to put them up and start connecting the modular carriage for the SATA units and the graphics card, plus another modems for the fans. In the PC boxes, there are usually specific dates for the storage units, but in our case, we have been using the 3.5 inches one. The traditional 3 TB hard drive was perfectly adjusted, but the SSD 3.5 inches, it would have been advisable to purchase an adapter tray, which could be purchased separately, for a better build. Even so, it is possible to use screws to fix this unit to one of the sides of the RAID for the storage unit.
SATA cables and power cables. Firstly, we must insert the storage units, and second, we just have to connect them to the motherboard through the SATA cables and to the power supply through the modular cables that we had left ready. In SATA connections, we will see how the motherboard usually has many more slots than we need. And normally, unless some are SATA 3 GBPs and other SATA 6 GBPs, we can use one or the other as we need to facilitate the maneuvers and tracing of the cables inside the box. Graphic card. In the one hand, as it happened with the memory modules, there is only one correct sense in which to connect it, otherwise we will have a problem. You will have to release two of the covers on the back so the card exposes the DPI, HDMI or DisplayPort connectors and other that available. On the other hand, the graphics card isn't correct to the motherboard through a tab that we will have to push if at any time we need to remove the graphics card. To continue, once connect the card to the board, don't forget to connect to it the power cables from the modular source, in our case, 2 connector 6 and 8 pins, and screw it to the board so that it does not move, and we can use the different connectors without problems. Cables of the box. Now we are connecting some cables that allow taking advantage of the accesses, buttons and slots of the box. For example, we will have the ones that illuminate the LEDs of the central panel, but also the cables that can connect the audio to the integrated speakers or the start and stop button of the equipment. In addition to this, the motherboard manual tells us which pins are appropriate in each case, and for example, there is usually a cable from the box to a series of pins of the board to use all the USB ports on the front and back. These connectors are either single pin, with which their connection is directory. They have a format that makes them only connect in a way to the slots that are on the board. The placement of the cables is a small art, and here it is possible to take advantage of the design of the box, to hide them even more or take them through areas that precisely improve internal refrigeration of the equipment. We have now stopped too long in this section to simplify the process, but it is advisable to consult the support manual of the box, in which they usually include advice in this regard. In conclusion, this is all. We hope that you like it. The tutorial has served you well to set up your PCs of medium, high or low range. Leave us in the comments that you think the video and explain your experience running your computer. Finally, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. Until next time.